Hi, I'm Susan Kennard, and welcome to The Spiritual Awakener. This is a podcast where I get to interview really cool people, really fun people who have realized that they were so much more than who they thought they were. They may have had a turning point in their life, or they may have had a spiritual awakening, hence the name of the show. If you've had one of those, if you feel that you've had a spiritual awakening or a turning point that has led you to help the collective, as our next guest has, please get in contact at susankennard.co.uk. And if you want to hear my spiritual awakening story, pop over after this interview to episode 1, where you hear all about the happenings of what happened to me one night many years ago. Okay, so much love to everyone listening, and I'm going to welcome my next guest, Riana Arendes. Is that how I say it, Riana?
It's Arensa, but that's okay.
Arensa. Riana Arensa. We have to get the energy of the name. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah, I can't remember how we connected. I can't remember how it happened. So tell me, remind me.
Well, I actually listened to you on one of the Tennis Summit shows, and I was so drawn to you. You're an exceptional healer, so that's what basically drew me to you initially.
Yeah. Okay. And then you reached out to me, and I went, yay, of course.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yes. Oh, brilliant. So, Riana, I know that you work with people, you have a practice, but what happened? What was your spiritual awakening? Because I just can't wait to tell everyone.
Well, I thought I'd just give you a little bit of a brief history so that you can see what has led up to my spiritual awakening.
Yes.
But basically, I was born into this life as a severely empathic child. So I could feel things really deeply. I would take on other people's stuff and see it as thought it was my own. Basically, I didn't know it at the time that I had these gifts and abilities, but now looking back on it, I can see that was gifts. I was clairsentient, so I could feel energies and receive intuitive information. I was clairaudient as well, so I could hear, and claircognizant. I just added a knowing of a lot of things. And so from a very young age as well, I would have prophetic dreams. I would dream about things that would eventually come to pass. I think I was a medium to a certain degree. I couldn't see spirit, but they would come to me during dream time, and they would give me messages. Usually, just when they passed a few days ago, they would usually visit me, and this was from a very, very young age. Yeah. But basically, the essence of my life was I didn't really feel like I fit in. I felt so alone. I felt isolated. I didn't feel. I felt like the odd one out, basically.
And a fish out of water, we would say in the UK. We'd say fish out of water,
Yeah, but now I know I wasn't meant to fit in, there was something greater that needed to happen within my life. So basically at the age of, I think 5 or 7, I can't remember the exact age, things shifted for me drastically. That was the time when I was sexually assaulted and then brutally raped up until my early adulthood by numerous people. And that basically became the theme of my life. I thought I was cursed. I thought that I was just here to be miserable, here to suffer. I suffered from chronic depression, panic attacks, anxiety. And then when I finished high school, I thought, okay, now maybe the dark part of my life is over. Because I hated being in school. I was bullied, and it just was a dark point, a dark time in my life. But then when I got my first job, I soon realized that the darkness wasn't over, because I continuously attracted people that would assault me, hurt me, bully me, belittle me. And I went to work thinking to myself, why am I doing a job that I don't love? I hate doing this work. Why do I have to do this work? But I didn't feel I could go to my parents. I didn't think they would understand. And so I basically didn't listen to my inner compass, and I just continued to do what I thought I had to do as a human being. I was conditioned. I needed to work. I needed to bring in an income, and that was it.
Which a lot of people, listening to this today, a lot of people, we're actually questioning a lot of that at the moment, obviously, because people have had to stop and think, and the Great Awakening's happening, and people have to go within. But generally, people get into this kind of rat race, don't they, where it's just like, I'm working to live. Yeah.
And
So
I
I'm
couldn't
working to
understand
live.
that. Yeah, I
I'm
couldn't
living to
understand. That
work.
didn't sit
No.
well with me.
No.
But nevertheless, I continued to do what I was told to do and conditioned to do. And then eventually I worked my way up into becoming a bank manager. So I was quite successful,
Yeah.
but I didn't really enjoy what I was doing. I
Yeah.
lived a comfortable life. I could support myself. I could support my parents. But then this continuous question would pop up for me. It's like, I asked myself, is this all there is? Is this all there is to life? Is just to work and have things? There must be so much more. And that tormented me. And eventually I became so desperate that I actually had my first reading with a psychic.
How old were
Because
you
I
then,
I
Riana?
probably was 20, 22, 23, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I will never forget what she said. And she said, Riana, it might sound cliche, but your healing hands will lead you into the direction of healing. And I thought, healing hands? And I never ever, even though I was gifted, I didn't really delve into, into
Yeah, the physical
spot.
healing side of
Yes,
things. Yeah.
yes. And then that sat with me for a while. And 2 days later, I was on the internet. I was browsing on how to stop smoking because I was smoking at the time. And the very first site that popped up was called Healing Hands.
Wow.
And I thought, no, this is a sign, or there's something in here. And I clicked on the site, and it was basically a training academy that taught people how to become certified hypnotherapists and NLP practitioners. And I literally took that as a sign, and I enrolled, and I became a certified hypnotherapist and an NLP practitioner many years ago.
So you
And
were guided. I mean, you were literally
yes,
guided, as mine
yes,
was to transcendental meditation 30 years ago.
yeah.
And that TM that kept coming up and kept coming up was like, oh, okay. And then I enrolled, and then my world opened.
Yeah, yeah. That was the very first time I believe that a little light shone into the darkness of my life. I had a little bit of hope there, and I could actually, say, maybe I do have a purpose here. And I knew that I wanted to help people. And then I also completed a psychology degree as well at that time. Now, this wasn't yet my spiritual awakening, but this was a step forward from where I had been previously.
And can I just stop you a second? Just,
sure.
When you were going down the road, because I studied psychology and psychotherapy as well. And did you think that you'd sorted everything out when you were doing a psychology? Because we're led to believe, and this is no disrespect to psychologists listening, but we're led to believe that we've talked about it. You had a very different experience to me, so I would imagine it was quite painful to go into those situations where you abused. But even though we talked about it, that is not the key, is it?
No.
The talking about it helps, but the key is to go down at really deep cellular, vibrational level, of course, but cellular level,
Yes.
And so did you feel, oh, well, I'm okay, I've sorted it, I've put it in a box, basically?
Yeah. So at that time, I thought, okay, now I have a vision of what my future's about. I'm going to be a psychologist, I'm going to be a life coach, whatever, hypnotherapist. And then I still wasn't, something within me wasn't satisfied. There was a deep inner, I don't know, deep within my being, there was something else there. And I continuously asked questions, and I asked God, and I asked the universe, and I said, please help me. I can't, if this is all that there is to life, then I don't want to be here anymore. I literally did not want to be here if that was all there was. And then eventually I was guided to another reading with a beautiful lady called Isabel. And this was a little bit of a turning point for me, because she said to me, the minute she tapped into my field, or my soul's blueprint, she said it was almost as if I was a dolphin that was put into a bowl with goldfish and told to deal with it.
Wow. Yeah.
And
So
that
if you can visualize that, you can see that, can't you? How restrictive would that be? I mean, my son, who's 11 next week, absolutely adores dolphins.
Yeah.
And the one thing is that they have to be free, right?
Yes, and that completely resonated with me, because that is how I've been feeling my entire life. You know, like I was just told, okay, now you just have to deal with the world as it is, and that's it. But I think that was a trigger point for me, because after that, she had also told me that I would be a healer. I would be writing many books in the future, and I would be teaching spirituality. And I didn't even like reading books or writing books or anything like that. So I just kept that in the back of my mind. But after that, that encounter, I began experiencing synchronicities with numbers. And messages, angel messages, and chance encounters with individuals that would take me to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. And eventually...
And that happens, right? Because if you're listening to this and you've been drawn to this podcast and to listen to Riana and myself, then it's because there was something that drew you here. Yeah. So it's synchronicities and how the universe kind of lines up for you when you ask the question, right? Ask and it's given.
Absolutely. And so what that led me to again was I was then interested in energy healing and crystals, and I then became a Reiki master at that time. So I was again up-leveled by source, by the universe.
Reiki. Pretty much everyone I talk to, including myself, went on the stepping stone of Reiki. It's incredible. It's almost like it's like this kind of like, you know, if you've never done anything else in your life and you find Reiki, it's because it opens up something within you. But Reiki came in on the third dimension, didn't it? Come on the very earthly, like feng shui came in the very earthly. And that's amazing. But we're also going to a finer vibration now, right?
And so that was the next step for me, but I still didn't have my full awakening. So what had happened was, one night I was in my room, just randomly standing in my room, and suddenly out of nowhere I just felt this shift come over me. It almost felt as if I was fell into a void or into a portal of some sort, something like, I don't know, it was like something just propelled me deep into myself. And what had happened was, it's almost as if I received a download of information, almost a knowing, a truth. And what was revealed to me in that moment was that I was shown who we are, who I am, what we are doing here, and that everything that we were taught to believe was not truth, and that we are actually the creators of our reality. And I sat there thinking,
how did that look? No, tell me. No, you can't just skip on that. So imagine. So you know, I'm like, you know, my mission is to help people get on their mission, right? So I always talk about, you know, that we can actually create anything, but there's going to be people here listening today when I put this out there that are going to say, well, the outside world is showing me something completely different, right? So what did you actually get shown? Let's evidence this, because you know what I'm like, the scientist girl, right? And you are too. So we like evidence. So what did it look like? Let's see if we can get people to visualize it. So you're standing there and you get shown what?
So I basically, what I'm seeing is, in my mind's eyes, I'm seeing myself as the narrator of my life. It's like I'm typing, it's like I'm typing out the happenings of my life as I'm, what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to experience, is I'm narrating my own life, basically. That is what I'm envisioning. And I'm seeing that this is a sort of program or matrix, so to speak, that we have all chosen to be a part of, in order for us to experience ourselves as source, as the divine, as love. We come in not knowing, and so through that moment of clarity, of information, I realized,
or not remembering, would you say we know, but we just don't remember?
That's exactly what it is. It was and but for me in that moment, I was sitting there, I was thinking, what was that? And I thought, no man, Riana, you must be making these things up. I didn't believe it in the moment, but then what happened later on that evening is I was browsing, I was looking at other spiritual teachers because I was interested in learning more, and they had confirmed and affirmed everything that I just experienced a few hours ago. And for me,
yeah,
in that moment, I was in shock.
yeah.
But I was also overjoyed because I was like, I knew it. I knew there had to be so much more. I was so happy.
And is it like, it's almost like, you know, for people listening, it's almost like the piece of the puzzle that clicks in. Like, so you've got a puzzle in front of you, you know, those puzzles, and there's a bit in the middle and it's like, well, everything's okay. It's all right. It's all right. And then that piece comes in and it's like, oh my God, well, it's all just a bit of fun really then, isn't it?
Precisely.
You know?
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But I was so overjoyed because I knew it. I knew it inside of my being that there was more. And then that just shifted everything for me because now my journey could begin. And I was
almost
so
literally a spiritual awakening.
Yes.
I mean, that literally is a spiritual awakening.
Yes.
It's literally
that was my
coming
awakening.
through you, awakening you, and it was time. And how old were you?
I was early 20s, maybe 25, 26.
So it's coming up to your Saturn return. So in astrology, you know, 20, 26, 27, 28 is our Saturn return. Mine was at 27.
Oh, wow.
My spiritual awakening. So that, you know, it's amazing, isn't it? How it's kind of, so people listening, if you're 26, 27, 28, watch out.
Watch out.
this could be your time, you know, to make a real difference in the world. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So after that, I sat there with this knowledge, with this truth, and I was like, no one's going to believe me.
Yeah.
You know, I was sitting and I was on, and I knew this to be truth. I had a knowing, I had a remembrance, but I didn't have anyone to tell this to at the time. But then my next step of action was, I knew now that the struggling part or the harder part would come because now I needed to uncondition myself and unbecome everything that I was conditioned to be. I knew I now had to strip away everything that was false.
Which
all
is
the personas.
When you live in this world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you're brought up with families, and I'm hearing, even though I don't know about your family, but I'm hearing that your family might not have been, you know, they birthed you, which was amazing, and you chose to experience, and similar to me, like no one's really spiritual in our family. So, you know, you're in this place and you know, and you 100% inherently know, but you can't really talk about it too much.
Exactly. So for that whole long period of time, I had basically kept this to myself.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed to shed the old. And so I basically became, for 3 years, I isolated myself from the outside world. I focused and immersed myself in focusing on healing myself, from ridding myself of everything, subconscious beliefs, old traumas, everything. I was so committed that immediately when I would be triggered or immediately when a block would pop up, I would immediately try and shift that or heal that away. Eventually, after the 3 years, I realized that I'd actually mastered healing myself to a certain extent. And then I started bringing that into my sessions with clients, and I started doing this healing work on them as well.
Yes.
So it was a long 3 years, but I was so committed to embodying the truth. There was nothing, I didn't care about the illusion part of life that I lived before. That didn't matter to me. I didn't want to be comfortable. I wanted to be thrown into the deep end, into the truth of everything that mattered most to me. And I think that that's an important part of the spiritual awakening journey. You must want to live and know the truth of who you are.
So if you're listening to this and you've experienced, you know, Riana's speaking about this so beautifully, but if you've experienced something that, you know, where you've been abused, or there's been real, you know, something really shocking that's happened in your childhood or in your experience now, domestic abuse or whatever it might be, it doesn't have to define you, right? Does it? Riana, no. It's not about defining you, but there will have been, you know, I work with this a lot. This is my specialism, childhood trauma, etc. And what I found is that actually these experiences are part of your expansion into your spiritual soul growth, right? Which is a really hard thing sometimes to hear, but it doesn't define you, does it?
Definitely not. Definitely
you are not the one that was abused.
Yeah.
No. And that's what I think is, you know, in the old psychology and psychotherapy days, it's trawling through every single part of childhood and life. And that isn't really what it's about, is it?
Yeah, the most important thing that I've learned was to move out of the victim mentality and get out of victimhood and perpetrator and persecutor and all of these things, and really take my power back and realizing that I am the creator of my reality. That if I created all of this that I've endured, imagine what I could do consciously with that knowing that I have that ability and power and divine, essence within me. And so that was
though, Riana, what came up, because what you've just said there is quite an important concept. So because I'm thinking of my listeners here, so if somebody hears that I created that, right, I created that. Now we know that vibrationally we are a reflection of our external environment, right? So we're like a mirror. And I think when I was in an emotionally abusive relationship 11, 12 years ago, one of my really light bulb moments was I had attracted that situation, right? It doesn't mean it was a blame. And I think this is really important. People are not, when you're listening to this, don't feel that you are to blame or the other person is to blame.
Yeah,
it's just about a vibrational match at that time.
Yes.
And I think that's key, really, because we do spend a lot of our life blaming another for something that has been done to us.
Absolutely.
And so this is important, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a very important step.
Did you blame your abusers at any point, though, before you awakened?
To a certain extent, but I think a huge part of me kind of knew
you got on with it. Right?
I got on with it. Yes.
In the fishbowl. Yeah.
Yes. And then when I had the awakening, I realized that I had brought all these things onto myself by myself, not for, just for expansion purposes, so that I can experience myself as a powerful being. And so I could then easily forgive those, because I also believe that my perpetrators were also just victims of victims, and they must have also been abused in their life initially. And so
maybe past life, maybe
yes, and that as well, and then I could just extend love towards all of them and see myself in them, because at the end of the day, we are all one on a higher view.
Totally. And
that's probably why I was so drawn to you.
Yeah. So that unit, so if you're listening to this, like, imagine that you are me, I am you. You are my children are you. Riana is me, I am her. We are, there's no separation.
There is no separation.
But there's also no separation to source, to God, to the universe, whatever you choose to call it.
Yes.
So there is no separation. So if there's no separation, then we can just have fun in this beautiful, energetic.
Exactly.
That's the theory, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it is. But it's coming back to these places where people are experiencing the fear of loss. Came up in my Kundalini practice this morning, where I was given the collective fear of loss. So I was helping that release whilst I was doing the Kundalini practice. And I think that's what's going on at the moment, Riana, is there's a lot of people in fear. So the outside world is showing something to us at the moment. And we'll carry on with your story in a minute, but I just want people to feel that what you're looking at on the outside world, how you perceive it, is the reflection. Would you say the same?
Yes. It's almost like the way you see things is basically seen through a filtered lens of your condition, of your beliefs, or of past experiences. And so when we clear all of that, you can actually see things for what it is, and see the gift inherent in all of this that's happening right now. And
the awakening aspect of it, of the going within.
Yes.
As much as, and what's coming to me as well, guides are like chatting to me, the them and us.
Yeah.
So our language, and definitely mine has been that way, is they. But actually when we come back to it, it is us, I, isn't it?
Yes.
So I is affecting the
Yeah.
outside world. I
Yeah.
is, you know, and that's a really, you know, the I am presence is
The
what
I am
it's all
presence.
about.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's gosh, it's like it feels like spaghetti sometimes, you know, like where it's like so many different things to think about. But when we can come into that space of oneness in our heart, then this is the key for our answers of peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more with you.
But to acknowledge as well, Riana, isn't it? Is to acknowledge that whatever you feel, so you look in the outside world now, or your relationships, or something that's happened to you as a child, whatever it might be, and you look in the outside world, and it's okay to feel that emotion.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But to understand that that emotion is just part of your expansion, and you could just release that.
You could just release it. Yes, definitely. That emotion is still part of you. That emotion might just want to be want to protect you, and so it's still an aspect of yourself.
That's a good point.
That you can integrate back into wholeness again. A fracture that might be a fractured part of yourself that just fractured off when you experienced something fearful or painful before.
Yeah. And it may not even be yours.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, epigenetically, obviously, but also ancestrally, like your parents. You know, maybe you chose your parents. Why do you think you chose your parents?
Yeah.
You know, why?
They were the perfect souls, I believe, that could actually give me what I needed in this life as far as the lessons that I wanted to learn and the things that I wanted to experience at the end of the day. I don't think if I didn't have them, I don't think I'd be sitting here now talking to you and doing and serving the community and serving the collective and doing the work that I do. So I'm grateful for every part of my life.
So tell us about how you help people.
Okay, so there's one last part before I get to that, I was going to say. So after I had that initial awakening, Source or the universe up-leveled me again. So one night I had basically accessed my Akashic records.
Oh, wow.
And the Akashic guardians at that time, they showed me where my soul originated from and which planets I had incarnated on before I came to Earth. And what they showed me is that my soul, that I'm an incarnated Seraphim Angel. So I originally come from the angelic realm, but I had physical incarnations after that in...
I can see you being an angel. I mean, you're absolutely, I mean, if people will listen to this in the podcast later and they can't see, obviously, visually, she's absolutely beautiful and serene. And you know, such a beautiful woman. So you could imagine that you came from the angelic realm, right?
Yeah. Okay. My mother always used to call me my angel daughter, and so that there was a lot of synchronistic moments that led up to that point. And so basically, he told me about where I originally came from as a soul, and where I incarnated after that on different planets, and then came to Earth during the Lemurian and Atlantean times. But then after that, I decided to access my consciousness as a Seraphim angel. So I went, you know, the 8th chakra, the soul star chakra, which you are obviously familiar with. I accessed that portal and I basically accessed my consciousness as a Seraphim angel. And I then got this huge energy shift. It felt like warmth was coming over me at that moment. And I immediately got this message or this download or this remembering that I was called in this life now to teach the Seraphim wisdom. So to teach unconditional love and just spiritual teachings. For humans, usually the Seraphim angels are usually depicted as angels with 3 sets of wings. Humans would depict them as that way with 3 sets of wings, so it's 6 wings, 3 and 3 on both sides. And so as I got sorry,
it's fairy like,
So basically I got this download and attunement or activation of these healing energies, of the angelic frequencies, and this is now what I also bring in my sessions and included as part of my programs that I have created, which will also be launching soon.
And where do people find out about that? Tell us your...
My website is Riana Arendes, so it's RianaArendse.com. Riana Arendes, or you can find me on Facebook. And yeah, I have a lot of programs coming soon, and my book is also available. It is called You Are the Creator.
Got it there. You Are the Creator. Oh, wow. And I love the cover, because people are listening to this without the video. It's like being in the galactic realms.
Yes.
I can see. Is that you kind of like energetically, or what am I looking at?
That is me when I realize that I'm actually free and I'm not trapped, and that whole entrapment is just an illusion. And the truth of the matter is that I create my reality. And so I created this book just for others to know who they truly are. My story is in here as well. It's told in its rawest form, but there are also channeled activations where I channel the Ascended Masters. And so in this book, I also, the exact modality, I call it the unbecoming process that I use to heal myself, I've also included in this book, so you can use it as daily processes for yourself.
Wow. So it's not only just a story, it's also about, it's a self-healing book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I channeled mine recently, which will be very soon out.
Wow, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Is it out?
Well, not quite yet. No, it's Awaken the Light Within. And it's the journey into healing, really.
I look forward to getting that book. I would love to read it.
Well, you have me, so that's fine.
I'm so excited for you. Wonderful.
That sounds amazing. I mean, and the Akashic records are incredible. I use that in my work as well. And what's amazing is that you can really see where aspects of yourself and people that we work with, actually how it relates to what's happening to them in the world now.
Yes.
The particular experiences and lifetimes on other galaxies, but also in other human forms as well, right?
Yes.
And all the contracts and agreements and all of those things that we decided to bring in this time.
It's like a library of your life's blueprint, basically, of everything that you ever were. Yeah, living library. Yeah.
I remember when I did the training, remembered the training, I was told. I walked into the room and I heard Melchizedek, MD, we call him, standing there, and he said, "Welcome to the living library, child." And I'm like, oh, okay, I've been here before then. And he's like, yeah. So it was like, I didn't really need to do the training. But it was an awakening of the training. The same for you when you went in. It was like, oh, okay, the Akashic records. Okay, I remember it.
Yes, and it's and it's so wonderful, like especially when you access that the soul star chakra. It not only did I access my past lives, but I could download past life spiritual gifts and abilities into my being now, so that I can use that as well in my practice as well. So it's wonderful.
I do an Earth Star, you've probably seen it, Earth Star, Soul Star meditation. I do with everyone, always, on everything, because it's essentially grounding into Mother Earth and connecting with all your other lifetimes and so on. And it's very quick, you know, you don't have to kind of stuff around. And for children, it's the star in the ground and the star in the sky. So it's a similar kind of thing to get them to realize they can ground and connect in a second. Yeah, carry on, my love. So people can find you there. They can read your book 100%, which I mean, that'd be great for people to read and actually take themselves through processes.
Yes.
Definitely at this time of awakening, people need things that they can actually really connect with. It is great that we can connect with our source energy and our guides and our inner guidance, but sometimes people can't do that themselves. So having a book like yours and mine, when eventually it comes out, you can actually read something, and there are codes. The guides are reminding me, codes through the words.
Yes.
So we are actually receiving healing through these channeled words.
It definitely will shift something within them, whether this is their first exploration on spirituality or whether they've been doing this for a while. Some part of you will shift when you read that book, and because you won't be called to reading the book if it's not your time to read the book. So if you do pick up a copy, know that it's not a coincidence, that it's meant for you. To read it.
The guides are giving me something here actually, and they're saying that even if you You can just put it under your pillow, actually, they're saying to me. So if you buy Rihanna's book, and just, you know, put it under your pillow and just ask to absorb the energy of it as well.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
quite
it
nice.
definitely is encoded with the most highest vibrational frequencies.
Yeah.
Just by keeping the book, just by reading the words,
Yeah.
you don't even have to use the tools or the, you know, the practices on a daily basis. Just by reading it or having the book is enough to shift something within you, to awaken some part of you.
Rihanna, I'm feeling, and I haven't done this before on my podcast, but I'm feeling, and so I just do as I'm told, I'm feeling guided that, could you take us through like a 1 minute or a 2 minute, like kind of real meditation? Could you do that?
I
Feel
can,
guided?
off the
Yeah.
top of my head.
Yeah, off the
Maybe
top of
just a balancing of chakras, maybe just connecting deep within. Sure,
yeah, I
definitely.
feel this would be really good for people. After listening to such a beautiful conversation between the two of us, where people can understand that, you know, they are so much more than who they are. This might just really help as we close this interview for people to really come into the sense and feel your energy as well.
Well, what I'll do is I'll just bring in some angelic frequencies so that you
Oh,
can get a taste of maybe the seraphim healing energies, and
yeah.
then just allow you to sit in that feeling or that
Yeah.
emotion or that within yourself just for a little bit before we go.
Yeah, amazing. That would be
Okay.
fantastic. Okay.
Wonderful.
And at the end, we'll remind everyone of your website at the end before we close.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
All right. So if everyone can just relax, whether you're sitting down, laying down comfortably, just close your eyes for a minute, for a second. Close your eyes. Take a deep inhalation and exhale. Anything that no longer serves you, anything that is dense. Now feel the rhythm of your body, of your heart beating within your body right now. Just feel that slight vibration deep within your being as you are sitting and lying down. Imagine now for a moment there's this beautiful golden light in the center of your heart. Expand this out as far as possible. As big as the house that you're in, as big as the community that you're in. Expand it as big as the earth and as big as the entire universe, as far as possible as you can expand it. Encompass everything with this golden light. And in this moment now, I'm going to bring in angelic healing frequencies, specific for all of you, no matter what needs to be shifted. Allowing Source now to take the reins and to take control. Whatever no longer serves you in this moment, whatever is needed for you to shift from where you are to where you need to be, allowing that now to be received wholly and completely. Bringing in the healing frequencies now, angelic healing frequencies, transmission, and activate, activate, and activate. Just receive and allow. Bask in this glorious energies of the divine, of love that is you. And know that you are inherently free. You are free, you are free, you are loved, you are supported. And that you are exactly where you need to be. We love you, we love you, we love you. And so it is. Thank you.
And so it is. Oh, that was beautiful. And I could really see the golden light coming out of the heart and expanding out to Mother Earth and the golden world that we live in. And I feel that actually that expansion that everyone has done has really raised the Schumann resonance of the earth, you know, in that moment. So that's why I was feeling really drawn to do that. And so, you know, please let me know, everybody listening, please let me know how you felt. You know, when you listen to this podcast, just leave a rate and review about how you felt with this and how you feel as you go throughout your day. Because if you could do this on a daily basis, Imagine how peaceful you would feel. Yeah, exactly. Rihanna, this has been an absolute joy, pleasure, and a beautiful awakening, I feel. I called the podcast The Spiritual Awakening really because I feel that it's really important that people realize that this is a time where we've all really had an awakening, and people are going through them all the time. And that we, as everyday people, have incredible stories to tell to help other people understand that there's so much more than they thought they were. So much love to you. Much love to everyone listening. Rihanna, just tell us your website one more time so people can get in contact with you.
So my website is rianaarendes.com. It's RianaArendse.com, or you can find me on my Facebook page as well. Thank you so much. Blessings.
Thank you, Rihanna. Blessings. So thank you so much for listening to The Spiritual Awakener. I feel so peaceful after this. I feel so in tune, so connected to my inner being, and I'm sure you do too. And if you've got a spiritual awakening story that you'd like to share with my listeners and with me, of course, I'd love to hear from you. Find me at susankennard.co.uk. And if you want to hear my story of my spiritual awakening, pop over to episode 1, where you can hear all about my visitation in the night. So until the next episode of The Spiritual Awakener, I'll say bye for now and much love.